Welcome to a new fantasy adventure on Dreamscape. In this exciting adventure, the protagonists Firu, Mortis and Arina embark on a dangerous search for a legendary artifact. Their adventurous journey takes them deep into an enchanted forest and into the dark depths of an ancient cave. Will they be able to resist the spell of the crystal scepter and overcome all obstacles? The biggest gesture you can give me is a like. If you like my stories, feel free to leave a subscription and activate the bell so you don't miss any more stories. Well then, let's dive into the story. The Legend of the Crystal Scepter. The sun was already setting when the companions Firu, Mortis, and Arina reached the edge of the ancient fir forest. Somewhere among the gnarled trunks should be the entrance to the legendary Cave of Caros. And there, it was said, lay hidden the fabled crystal scepter that the group had been searching for many weeks.
We should camp for the night and continue searching tomorrow in daylight,
said Firu, the leader of the trio.
It's too risky to move among the trees in the dark now.
Arina, an experienced ranger, nodded in agreement. But Mortis, the young, impetuous mage of the troop, would not hear of it.
The sooner we find the scepter, the better. Who knows who else is after it? We should keep moving.
Firu sighed.
Mortis, your zeal in all honor, but we...
Be quiet.
Arina suddenly interrupted the two.
Do you hear that?
Whispering, crackling sounds could be heard. The companions froze and listened tensely. Something was there in the darkness among the trees. The whispering sounds grew louder and came rapidly closer through the undergrowth. Firu drew his sword in a flash, as did Arina her bow. Suddenly, 6 dark, armed men burst out of the bushes.
Robbers!
Without a word, the outlaws charged at the surprised, roaring. Firu faced the onslaught and his blade struck the first attacker. Arrows whirred through the air as Arina opened fire. Mortis backed away and began to weave a fire spell. One of the robbers struck at Firu with a club, but he parried and rammed his sword into the rogue's chest. 2 of Arina's arrows also found their target. But more and more opponents poured in. Mortis hurled his fireball, which engulfed 2 robbers in flames.
To the cave!
Firu roared. The companions backed away toward the rock wall. If they reached the narrow entrance, they could hold on. They fought their way through step by step. Finally, they reached the edge of the cave. Now it was time to shake off their pursuers. Panting, Firu, Arina, and Mortis leaned back against the rock wall next to the narrow cave entrance. They had shaken off the pursuit of the band of robbers for the time being. But the entrance to the cave was still far from safe. More attackers could find their way here at any time.
We have to find a way to block the entrance so they can't get in,
Firu said out of breath.
I could make the cave ceiling collapse. That would help.
Mortis suggested. But Arina shook her head.
Too risky. We don't know how unstable the rock is. We could spill ourselves.
The 3 thought feverishly. How could they safely block the cave entrance without putting themselves in danger? Time was running out for them, for angry voices could be heard again from the distance. Soon the robbers would have caught up with them. With no way to block the entrance in time, the 3 companions had no choice but to flee deeper into the cave. They grabbed their backpacks and disappeared inside the dark tunnel, just before the angry hordes of robbers burst out of the undergrowth.
Quick, this way.
Arina whispered, lighting the way with a torch. The air grew colder and more humid as they felt their way over slippery rocks and narrow crevices. Behind them, they could hear the cursing of the bandits who had now reached the cave entrance.
Don't let them catch up with us!
Firu gasped.
We have to find a way out!
But the tunnel seemed to have no end. Already the fugitives feared being trapped. Then the cave passage suddenly opened to a large cave. Fortunately, there were several exits. But which one should they choose? In the cave, a quick decision had to be made. Firu decided to choose the left of the 3 exits. The others followed him, while behind them angry screams sounded that the robbers were approaching. The chosen tunnel was narrow and winding. The companions had to squeeze through one after the other. But suddenly the passage widened. Torchlight illuminated a large chamber, in the middle of which on a pedestal the crystal scepter. Their search had come to an end. Mortis stepped reverently toward the scepter. When his fingers touched it, its power flowed through him. Now he possessed the power to defeat their enemies once and for all. The others were equally relieved. But they were not safe yet, so Mortis took the scepter and together they fled the cave through a narrow side exit. Finally, they were able to escape this horrible place and the band of robbers. Their mission was accomplished.